Hello and welcome. My name is Katie. I'm a remote online notary in the state of Florida. And today I had the pleasure of sitting down with Calvin Darville. He is the owner of Comfortable Closings, which is a nationwide signing service and also has incorporated Ron into his signing business. So I wanted to have him on, go over what that looks like for his business, how it's helped, and then also highlight some of the things that he's doing within his own business to set himself apart with these title companies. So stay tuned till the very end because we go into how remote online notarization is a huge benefit to these companies, and then also some of the things that you do not want to miss as a notary that is filling out loan signing documents. So stay tuned. And then also, I'm going to go ahead and include all of his information in the description box in case you'd like to reach out. Thank you. I am a notary in Southwest Florida, and today I have Calvin. He is from Comfortable Closings, and he was nice enough to come on here, and we're going to have a chat about all of the things about real estate and title companies and marketing. So welcome, and thank you for coming.
Of course, I'm happy to be here, ready to dive in. Hopefully we can help some people and, just expand our network and I'm ready to help.
Yeah. And so we work together in general. And one of the things that I really, really like is something that you have been doing for title companies, which I wanted to highlight today. Can you explain a little bit about what it is of how you add value to title companies that work with you?
Yeah, definitely. So the main thing we do at our company is we help them schedule their mail away closings. So let's say there was a seller who owned a property in Florida and but they live in Kansas or whatever. So they would have to work with a title company that's licensed in Florida. So typically that title company would be located in Florida. So they live in Kansas. They're not going to drive all the way from Kansas just to sign closing paperwork. So in a situation like that, the title company would reach out to us and have us send one of our in-person notaries out to meet with that seller in Kansas to get the closing paperwork signed. So that's typically how we help them. And also, we've been supporting them with social media as well. We do a lot of promotion, a lot of video marketing on social media, and it's been very helpful for our company to get our brand out, to reach more title companies, to educate our notaries, and to do a lot of different things. And we all know the power of social media. So we've started helping our customers as well. Only title companies that use our services, we started helping them with content creation. So literally from creating videos, giving them topics to talk about, editing those videos, and providing them with the video content to push out to their audience.
Because one of the things that we've talked about before, because we've worked together, is adding value to our clients. And so I think that you really hit the nail on the head on that one, because I feel like a knockout of the park, and it's going to compound later on. So I think that the social media marketing is a nice way to kind of get your personality and your brand across without having to put yourself out there as much, just because it's video, and then once it's out there, you don't have to continue doing all of the things. How did you come up with that idea?
I mean, honestly, it was just like in business, you're always trying to think of ways that you could separate yourself. And I was producing a lot of content for the company, and I just really understood the power of social media. And I was always wondering why customers our specific customer is the title companies. I was always wondering, like, why no title companies are leveraging social media in the way that it can be leveraged, because it's such a powerful tool. I'm like, well, maybe no one's helping them with it. We're using it, and I'm trying to figure out how I can make myself different than these other notary companies out there, other than, providing the notary and, making sure our notaries are knowledgeable at the table. But what's something else that we can do that's just different? I was like, well, I'm already doing this. So, how about, we try to, invite some clients. So it just started off as something like, just kind of, we were doing like on the low level, just inviting a couple clients to shoot content with us. And we talk about closings, talk about real estate, talk about the market. And then I'm like, okay, well, we kind of got something here. So now it's something that we're trying to do monthly. We're trying to get customers in for content sessions monthly.
And I think that that's definitely something that I've noticed in my own business too, because like I do YouTube and I do like unlisted tutorials on like how to get signed on. But also, if I'm busy and I don't have time to like do an in-depth reply to a potential client or anything like that, I can sometimes send them a in-depth reply of like how to work with me as a remote online notary and like how foreign sellers work. And so it's a little bit of a way for me to like clone myself. And then, you don't have to spend all the time answering sometimes the same questions over and over again. So
Mhm.
I really like that. So that is amazing though. I'm glad that you are harnessing that power because I think it's going to take off, especially in real estate. I know not a lot of title companies are doing that. So I think that's going to set them apart, especially in this interest rate thing that we have right now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to market right now. You got to market
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not 2020, it's not 2021 anymore, where interest rates were at 2%, and you didn't have to do as much marketing. Now you got to get out there, shake hands, and kiss babies. And
Yeah.
you got to do that in person, and you got to do it virtually.
The other thing that I wanted to kind of ask you is you're one of the signing services that use remote online notaries. Have you seen an increase in title companies using you in that capacity?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like we do those every day,
Mhm.
multiple every single day. So it's been a huge uh, advantage and game changer, and it's been
Mhm.
great. I thought at first it was kind of like a little scary operating a signing service, thinking that okay, well maybe they're not going to be using in-person notaries, but it's honestly made giving us more business. So it's yeah, because the title companies don't want to do it themselves. They just don't
No.
like they. I know a couple of title companies that have people who are certified to do Ron in office, but they just rather just pass that out to a third party service. So
Yeah.
it's been great. It's been great. We got a couple of online notaries that we work very closely with, and
Mhm.
we give them multiple closings a day.
And then, so let's say that there's a notary that's a remote online notary that wants to start working with you or an in person notary. How do you think the best way to contact you would be?
The best way to contact us, a phone call, just call our company number,
Okay.
introduce yourself, let them know what platforms you're on. Obviously, the platforms are very important because they have to be approved by the underwriter.
Mhm.
Let them know what platforms you're using, your experience. It doesn't matter if you're new or if you're a veteran. The only thing that matters is that you're coachable. Because you could be a veteran, you could have been doing online closings for 3, 4, 5, however long years, but if you don't, it doesn't matter because if you're not doing it the way that we want it done or the way our customers want it done,
Yeah.
then it really doesn't matter. So if you're a veteran or if you're new, you have to be coachable, because everybody likes things done differently. All our customers are different. Some of our customers are different. Some of our customers want things done a certain way. Some of our customers don't want it this way. So you have to be coachable. Um, if you're an online notary and you want to work with us, just give us a ring. Let us know how you can help us.
Okay. Do you have any advice to title companies that are kind of on the fence as far as adding remote online notarization? Just because that's a little bit of my passion project is obviously remote online notarization. So, what would you say to title companies that are on the fence about incorporating that or using your signing service to facilitate?
I think if you're on the fence about online notarization, you're losing business. You're making things harder for yourself. You think you're making things more expensive for your company, um, and it's all about having multiple tools in a toolbox for any
Hmm.
business. I want to have multiple tools at Comfortable Closings. We want to be versatile, which is why we added supporting our customers with content creation. We want to have
Hmm.
multiple tools in our toolbox. We want to be able to solve every single problem. So you don't want to be the title company like, oh, what if the seller's in France? So let's say he's selling Florida property, the title company's in Florida, but he lives in France.
Hmm.
Okay. And you got your client coming to me like, hey, I got this. So the title company's client is going to be the realtor. The realtor's coming to the title company. He's like, hey, I got this client who wants to sell his property here in Florida, but he lives in France. Can we get this done? Are you going to
Hmm.
be the title company who's going to be like, oh, no, we can't handle that because he's abroad. So, we don't have a notary who could go there. He'd have to go to the embassy, and that's just going to be too much. But if you're the title company who can do online signings, you're like, oh, that's no problem. Yeah, we'll just have him hop on virtually. Make sure he has a laptop, a tablet, or a phone where he can get online and he has his ID so he can be verified and everything. So it's all about having tools in your toolbox. If you're a title company, you're not doing online closings, you're losing money. You're shooting yourself in the foot.
I think so too. And especially for like, let's say you have a realtor that can choose between title company A and title company B. And title company A does remote online notarizations. You work with a lot of foreign nationals, or even you have people that go on vacation. If title company A does the remote, you would be able to get those closed. Title company B has turn their nose at remote online notarization, they're not going to be able to give the same value as title company A. So that's kind of something to think about, or even have a conversation about to see kind of how it works, or just what that would look like for your company. So
I think it's a game changer. I think online closings is a game changer. But another example of how it could save a title company money, which I'm actually going to put a video out about this, but it's more cost effective in certain situations. So if you got 4 people selling a piece of property, let's say one person owned the property and it was a mom, and the mom passed, and she passed it down to her 4 children. And those 4 children live all across the United States. If you're doing in-person notary, you would have to send out 4 different notaries, which is going to be 4 different fees. If it's a seller, let's say the notaries are charging $150 a piece, that's $600 in notary costs. So if you do online and you can get them all scheduled at the same exact time, you could bring 4 people online and have that be one notary fee as opposed to a $600. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I try and do those types of math things to people too, just because they don't necessarily always listen to like, do this because it's easier. But if you frame it as do this because you're going to save money, most people are like, all right, okay, I'm at least open to a conversation about it, because that's the same thing. Like, let's say, because that's happened where you have, usually I see it in like estate planning documents, if you have like multiple beneficiaries or something that you have to sign a designation for, you'll have the will, and then it has to go to beneficiary 1, beneficiary 2, beneficiary, and that's shipping, that's witnesses, that's notaries. So usually it takes less time and is more cost effective, less open to fraud if you use remote online notarization. So that's kind of the pitch that I talk to different title companies or like law firms. I'm like, guys, it's easier. Just let me show you. It's fine. Yeah. And then the other thing that I think is nice, that you kind of highlighted, is that if you use someone else, so instead of doing it in-house, you don't really have to worry about the regulations as much. Like, that's more on like your shoulders or the notary's shoulders, because there's a lot that goes back on the back end of becoming a remote online notary. And there's like other fees to think about. You have to increase your E&O, you have to increase your bond. So there's a lot of things that are moving parts, that a title company or an escrow officer, or doesn't necessarily want to deal with. So to offload that is more than likely a good idea. That's kind of
I
my.
mean, I think it's all about like, just being an expert in your field. So if you're working at a title company, like learning Ron is just a whole nother world. Because you just gotta know it, because like there's the best Rons that we have are the ones who are very knowledgeable, and like pretty much all they do is Ron. The best Rons we have, they don't do any in person. That's all they focus on is Ron, and they're very versatile with the platforms, because as you know, it dealing with technology, you have problems. So it's you got to be able to bring people on and get them through the biometrics and get them through the KBA and explain to them how to hold their ID so it can be processed and all this. And if you're not solely focused on that, you probably won't be that versatile, that educated with it. So it's like, if I'm working at title, do I really have the time to really learn how to master this platform? Or this should be something I should just outsource to somebody so I can focus on making sure my customers are happy. I outsource this out to someone who's very good at it. This is all they do. This is all they focus on. And then I just focus on what I'm good at doing. making sure title's clear, making sure I'm communicating with my customers, making sure, I'm continuing to build relationships. So, I think it's all about, just being the expert at what you do. I'm not trying to do the title company's job. I'm just trying to be really, really good at what it is we do here, and perfect it and master it, so when our clients reach out to us, we're resourceful.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things that, like, being a remote online notary does have a pretty big learning curve. There's a lot of stuff that happened that I didn't really expect. If I were to try and decide, like, if I wanted to have my admin or if I wanted to have someone learn how to do it, yes, they can probably learn, but the learning curve, like, I used to do trainings for the software, and there's probably about, well, they're all changing, but there's probably about 100 to 200 different videos on how to do specific things within the platform. That is always something to kind of think about. That time spent for your admin to learn this, or you could just contact Calvin or a remote online notary, and then they'll take care of it and take down that learning curves, because it's, it takes a while to figure out the different platforms and then the pricing and then just how to get signers through everything. So there's a lot that goes into it. So
yeah, I mean, our raw notaries, I salute them. They do a lot for us. They do a great job for us. And like I said, they're all resourceful. So, because it can be a lot sometimes, so I salute them.
Yeah. But it is cool when they're in cool, my signers are in cool places. It's fun because then I can talk to them. I'm like, oh, you're in Singapore right now? Like, what's the weather like? How's it going? Like, have you gone to the airport? So that's always fun.
I guess a quick notary tip, if notaries aren't aware of, the deed now requires the witnesses' addresses. As you know, Florida deeds, by law, they have to be signed off by two unrelated witnesses from the seller, the people selling the property. Make sure you put the full mailing address. So not just the street number and the street name, or not just the city, state, and the zip code, but the street number, street name, city, state, and the zip code.
Okay.
Or else they literally can't record it. So just make sure if you're a notary, you're doing a closing and you're in that the witness's addresses, that you get the full entire address, or else once the documents get back to the title company, if it doesn't have the full address, they're going to send it to the county for recording. The county's going to deny it. Then they're going to have to reach back out to you. Then we're going to have to find that witness. If you didn't provide the witness, and that's going to be a whole nother problem. So just make sure you get the full entire address. The full address. It's happened. It's already happened. So just, I'm telling, and I feel like anything with closings, like, you always want to just like try not to shortcut things. I feel like whenever we shortcut things, that's when, they come back to us.
I know. I was just talking to someone on a different forum, and they were asking how to fill something out, and they're like, well, it already says on my stamp my commission number, but it's asking down here. I'll just forward the commission number. She was like, do I have to put it down if it's asking for it right here? And so my advice, I was like, I'd rather give too much than too little, because I don't want it to come back. I don't want to have to redo that. I don't want to have to ask the witnesses to come back. I don't want to have to ask the signers to come back. Like, just because of the time, but then also because of my business. Like, I don't want that to come back on me, that because I forgot or I didn't put in my commission number, even though it's on the stamp, I don't want it to come back.
I agree.
Yeah. And I've had it where things seem, sometimes as a notary, what you have to do is very redundant. Like, you have to fill out the same things over and over and over again. And they ask you for the same things that they already have within the stamp. And then you have to put your name. My advice to a notary that's just starting out is fill out everything, because it doesn't matter that they can see it. They want it over here. And if it's on the, if your name is there and then it has a little space, just put your name. It'll save you a lot of time later on.
Yeah, on the back end, and there's a lot of stuff that happens just like that we don't know about. And it's an entire process, because you got post-closing. So, after loans process, there's post closing where people are reviewing these documents and making sure everything's accurate still at post closing. So you don't want it to come back from post closing like, hey, I missed something, so especially if it's something that you saw. Like, we're all human, we're all going to miss things every now and then. I mean, I've missed things, in my career, so we're all humans. Nobody's saying that you're not going to miss something, but it's more so what I'm talking about is when you're intentionally shortcutting something because you feel like you've already provided it, or they can find it elsewhere, or they already have this information. Like, no, don't do that. Just take the time to write it. If they're asking for your commission number, if they're asking for your name, if they're asking for a customer's social security number, but it was already on a document previously, so you're like, oh, they already have it, I don't need to write it on. No, just write it on every document that asks for it. Just fill the documents out thoroughly, to save yourself time, to save the title company time, to save the seller or the buyer time. Fill everything out thoroughly, especially when you're beginning your career. Now, if you're a seasoned veteran, maybe I still wouldn't recommend it. But if let's say you have a client that you're working with and you know exactly how they want their documents, then okay, maybe that's fine in that situation. But I recommend for everyone to always fill everything out thoroughly, leave, cross all your T's, dot all your I's. Simple as that.
Yeah. And then on the back end, like, just so that, because I usually like to know the why of like why I have to do certain things on the back end, when you're doing the loan documents and when you're doing the paperwork, they don't all go to the same place. So if you are filling out the social security number for someone over here, that could just be for the title company to keep on record. And then the other thing would be going to the IRS. So obviously you want to fill out the social security number. Yeah. You want to fill out the social security number for that in the back, just so that like the IRS isn't going to know that the title company has their social security number, and they're also not going to care, and they're not going to ask. You want to make sure that everything is filled out completely. And then another thing is that because of the way that we live in a technology world, there is more things that are like scanning the document on the back end to find certain pieces of information from the documents. So if you have a specific spot for, your commission number, you want to be able to put that there. So that way it's I think it's called OCR, but it can grab it and then put it into the correct spot for the back end of the tech software side of it. So I think that's going to be a little bit more prevalent as well, just because I've been in a little bit of the software space, and they're making some pretty cool strides in that industry. So that's something to think about too. How can we find you? What's the best way?
Business pages, comfortable closings on all platforms, Instagram, well, actually just Instagram. No. We got a Facebook page too. We got Facebook. Okay. So comfortable I'm personally on all platforms, but the business is on Facebook under Comfortable Closings and Instagram under Comfortable Closings. If you want to chop it up with me, Calvin J. Darville on all platforms. That's TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, any other platform, Clubhouse, so I'm personally everywhere, but the business is only on Instagram and Facebook, which we do need to change that and get the business out there more. But yep, I'm always open to chat. Me and Katie met through social media, actually. So I love social. I love connecting with people. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions, or if you want to chop it up, grab coffee if you're in the Tampa area, whatever. I'm open. I love meeting people and, just figuring out, how we can help each other.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the channel, and I appreciated it.
Peace.